Plug your ears in, man. You know who it is. Storylines.
Do you have the grit?
Do you have the grind?
I want to welcome everybody to the Grit and Grind Sports Show podcast live on Studio 67 in CC this week. And before we get started with this week's episode, we'd like to apologize to some of our fans who went looking for us on the Grit and Grind YouTube page. Currently right now our page is under technical difficulties.
Yep.
But going forward, if you want to see new content, go to Studio 67 NCC, where you'll see all our new episodes from this season. And once our page gets under technical difficulties and gets back going, you'll be able to go back to see old episodes on the old page. But all our new content will be on the Studio 67 NCC YouTube page. Well, Daryl, week one.
Week
in
one
the books.
in the books. And what a exciting week one.
An exciting week one over this area.
And Shawn, I just got to give a shout out to all the fans in Nash, Rocky Mount, Franklin County, Wilson County for coming out to the games. I was at that Southern Nash East Wake game.
Big numbers out there.
Big numbers, seeing the parents, seeing the players, the cheerleaders, the band, and just the community involvement in the teams and the support that these guys are having. And you know, I looked in the stands and I saw, you know, grandparents.
That's
the
it.
grandpa and the grandma sitting up there watching the grandson play.
That's right.
So, you know, that's what this is all about, Shawn. And week one was a great week one for a lot of teams in our area. And I'm excited about week two.
I'm excited about week two. I got a chance to get down to the CCS Howard game. That was one of the ones we said was the 8-man football game of the week. First time we had one. And it was Howard's inaugural game. I mean, both fans from the Cyclones and the Eagles of Howard went to CCS, packed that stadium out, people standing up. CCS had all their people there.
Right.
Howard brought all their people there on both sides. That's what you want to see.
That's what you want to see.
Howard brought the pep band, cheerleaders. I mean, you name it.
Yeah.
Howard brought everything down for that one game because even though this was a road game for them, it was a memorable night for them as they won. You'll never get that first game back.
You never get that first game back.
You know, whether you win or lose, you'll never get it back. So Howard, you know, they brought all the players, I think, from that school over there.
And that's what you want. And that's what this, and actually that's what our show's all about. That hometown feel.
That's right.
Talking Eastern North Carolina football and giving it to you with that backyard flavor.
And that's what you want, where everybody, whether you're from Nash, Edgecombe, there's so many things in this world that we can disagree on.
Right.
But something about Friday night when those lights
It's
come
something
on,
special.
whether you're from Southern, Northern, Southwest, Tarboro, North Edgecombe, Rocky Mount, Wilson Prep, Rocky Mount Prep, CBA Cop, Eastern Wayne, Rosewood, Triple S, North John, it doesn't matter where you're from, East Wake area, it doesn't matter where you're from, we can all find something in common to root for that hometown team.
That's it.
That either you went to and you still live in the area, or either you have moved on, but it's still a part of you somewhere.
All right, Shawn. So let's go ahead and get started. But before we can officially get started, tell me where we at this week, Shawn.
Well, this week we are in the home.
The home.
Of
who?
Can I give them the accolades?
Don't give
the accolades again.
You got to give it to them.
The 3A Big East champ.
All right.
The 3A Eastern Regional champion.
No, they're not.
State runner-up to the state championship.
Yes.
Nash County Grit and Grind champions.
What?
We are in no other place but Death Valley.
Death Valley. And we want to thank Death Valley, Northern Nash for inviting us again to film the show. And we just, I'm ready to get started, Shawn.
I'm ready to get started. I will say one thing, Northern Nash. I tried to get this old Southern alumni to touch the rock. I don't know if it's the rock, but that's what I call it. When y'all run out of the field house, he won't have no parts of that this morning.
No, not this one, no.
Well, down with that said, can you tell me who was the Grit Player of the Week?
All right, Shawn. So my Grit Player of the Week is going to come from Southern Nash. And I was at that game against East Wake. And like I was saying, I was talking to some of the parents, and shout out to Jessica Battle was one of the persons I was talking to. And also the activity bus driver, Miss Vanessa. I will speaking to her too. But there's a lot of good players on this defense for Southern Nash. And I'm looking at Devon Richardson, number 52, Luke Faulkner, 44, McCleek Dobbins, number 4, number 55, Daniel Collins.
That's the center.
The center.
That's the glue. The glue
But
of the offensive line.
That's it. But the player that stood out to me in this particular game was number 7, Ray Lynch. He stayed in the backfield for Southern Nash. I mean, it seems like almost every play he was back there with the quarterback, making a play, controlling the end as far as coming up as a corner. He was just all over the field, and he was playing with that grit that we talked about if you're on defense. And so this week, my grit player goes to Ray Lynch.
Well, this week, Daryl, for the Grind Award, it's very rare that we give the award out to an entire team.
Yeah.
You know, when we do that, it's because that, whether it was the offensive or the defensive unit or the entire team, they did something special. But before I give out the Grind Award, I want to give a person who actually would have won the award, but he was run up this week because you can't take away what this team done. And that was the quarterback for Bedford First, junior quarterback Bryson Wagner. Went on the road to fight, was down 20-0 going into halftime. Third, fourth quarter scored 20 unanswered points to get his team back in the game. Any other quarterback could have said, Coach, just take me out, put the reserves in, let's get ready for Hunt next week.
Right.
He stayed in the game, got his team almost to victory, but he was stopped for the winning 2-point conversion.
Oh, man.
But if you're Bryson Wagner and Bet the Field, that's something to build on this week.
You definitely want to
going
build on that for this week.
But the Grind Player of the Week this week, Bryson would have won it. He was the runner-up, but the Grind Player of the Week this week goes to no other than Solid B. Howard Eagles.
Okay.
28-22 win over there at CCS. First game win in
program history. We called it. We said,
called it.
Hey, one win, that's your season.
That's your season.
But
CCS got 22 kids that dressing. I mean, not CCS. CCS has 14 that dressing. Solid B has 22. First time an 8-man team or 8-man player has won the Grind Player of the Week. So not only that, Solid B, how did you make history, but you made history on the grit and grind.
On the grit and grind.
So that's something for them to take with them. But hats off to Solid B High for going in as a team, playing an offensive, defensive sound game, and getting your first ever W in program history.
All right. All right, Shawn, so it's that time.
Well, it's the time for the game of the week, Dad.
Game of the week, and we got 2 good ones.
2 big games over here in our area. And the first one I want to talk about is a game that a lot of people wouldn't have this highlighted.
No.
But I had this one highlighted.
Yeah, you had it on. Yeah, I remember in our preseason show
I had
you
this
talked
one
about
highlighted.
this game.
And that is between the 1-0 Jaguars out of 1A football, Northampton County. Not that many times 118 gets a game of the week.
Yeah.
Versus the 2A Wildcats of Bun.
Yep.
Darryl, tell me a little bit about this Bun Wildcats team.
Bun is coming in this game 0-1. They had a tough outing against Whitefield. They lost 57-14 in that game. And they lost a lot of key players from last year's squad. And so Bun is in that process of rebuilding, but this is still a good team that can be a good team down the road.
That's
and
right.
I think
growing pain game.
Growing pain, and they in that early stage of the season playing these tougher games to where when they get in conference play,
it
makes it a whole lot better. So, you know, Bun has to play Cedar Ridge after this game against Northampton, and then the game that we had on the list, Rocky Mount. So in 2 weeks, you're talking about going to Rocky Mount, maybe having an opportunity to win that game. So Bun has some good players. I mean, you got running back Austin, you got Cook, you got a wide receiver in Williams. So, you know, you have some experience on offense, and then on defense, you got Harris, Evans, and Williams as well on defense. So Bun is, I think they're in the process of just seeing what they got, finding their way, and it's all these games that in the early stages are like what we said before, measuring stick. To see where you at.
That's right.
And to put up 14 points against Whiteville, okay, that's a check mark right there. You
were able to get the ball in the
end zone. So this week, what is your goals this week? That's how you got to look at these games if you're Bud. And then because the game you want, to me, you want to look at is that Rocky Mount game.
Because that's the first game of conference play.
First game of conference play. So you want to get all the kinks out in these other two games. So when you get to Rocky Mount, you're ready to play. Everybody's on one accord. Everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. So Bun has a tough challenge against Northampton. Um, so it's gonna be a good game, but more of a measuring stick game if you're Bun.
That's right. Jaguars Northampton County out of Gaston, North Carolina, 1-0. Jaguars last year hosted Roanoke Rapids, and you heard us say this several times. Go back watch some of the old episodes. Roanoke Rapids played the best game in last year's week 1 when they went up to Northampton and stunned the Jaguars with a blowout game.
Yep.
Well, last week, Jaguars played Roanoke Rapids in Roanoke Rapids, won 14-0. And if you're Northampton winning that game, it puts you ahead of everybody.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you why it puts you ahead of everybody, Daryl. Everybody in Northampton's conference, guess what they did last week?
What's that?
They lost.
They lost.
So if you're Northampton, you're one game ahead of everybody.
That's it. That's where you want to
That's
be.
where you want to be.
Yeah.
Wilson Prep, Warren County, Northwest Halifax, Southeast Halifax, Rocky Mount Prep, North Edgecombe, Kent Pride.
Kent Pride, there we go.
And of course, Wilder didn't play last week. But all of those teams also, if you know that, you're saying we're already going in the right direction. Jaguars looked at the team. They only dressed 36 players, but last week, 82 yards by the quarterback, Trail Banks, wide receiver Jamar Blake. You got one guy who had 6 tackles. That was Jaquan Williams. He picked out the quarterback. You had Deloach who had 6 tackles. And Northampton can come in this game. They need to set the tone in this game
Right.
for how the rest of the season is going to
yep.
be. Because after this game, they get a week off.
Right.
Then they get a Saturday afternoon 4 o'clock game against guess who?
Who they got?
The biggest rival.
Uh-oh.
Your favorite team up there.
Uh-oh.
You know that team is.
But Kent Pride.
Kent Pride.
Kent Pride is
They
coming
got on a Saturday.
on a Saturday.
So that means they want everybody in that community to come to that game.
You know what? I might come to that game. It's on a Saturday.
It's on a Saturday at 4 o'clock.
I
You
might
gonna
be
put it on the
there.
books?
I might put it on the
Let's
books.
put it on the books. That's a big game
Yeah.
because most times when you move a game to a Saturday afternoon game, it's because you know people are working on Friday nights.
Right.
You want to give everybody a chance to community just to come out that day for a good rivalry game. So you know you can go in that game once again. You can go into Kent Pride 2-0,
Yep.
1-1 if you lose
That's
the
what they're saying.
ball.
1-1 if you lose the bun.
So then after Kent Pride, you know who you got?
What's that?
North Edgecombe, a conference game.
Yeah, waiting for you.
Waiting for you. And North Edgecombe coming off a loss to Southwest Edgecombe. So, you know, Northampton right now needs to win these games because I think when they get in that 1A conference, it's anybody's ball game.
Right.
And we seen that, how those teams, they get clicking once they get in conference.
Once they get in conference.
So I haven't made my pick yet, but it'll be on at the 5-minute quick pick.
5-minute quick pick. All right, so let's go to our second game. And which game is this, Shawn?
This is the game of the week right here, and this is a big game over here in our area. It is Southwest Edgecombe, the Cougars, hosting the Bulldogs and Nash Central. Both teams last week, I think they won a ball game by a blowout.
They both blowouts. And this game is the biggest game, I will say, so far this season.
That's
It's
it.
the second game of the season.
This is the biggest
This is
game.
one of the biggest games. And I'm going to be honest, if I would not celebrate my birthday this weekend,
We'll be up there.
I'll be at Pine Top watching this game because this is the game to be at. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Nash Central. So Nash Central comes in this game 1-0. They beat North Edgecombe. Excuse me. They beat Southeast Halifax 42-6. And for Nash Central, going to Southwest Edgecombe, they haven't played since 2020.
That's been a long time.
It's been a long time. That was during the COVID era. And they lost 39-14 when they did play. And some of the key factors why they lost was the running game that Southwest had on them. I mean, they had running backs like Pittman, Jones, Wooten, combined 5 touchdowns. They ran for over 540 yards in that game. So if I'm Southwest, I'm going to come up with the same formula. I'm running the ball on Nash Central. So Nash Central has to be honed in on defense if they want to win this game because it's going to be a tough game down there in Pine Top. And, I mean, as far as defensive-wise, you're looking at Johnson. You know, these are some of the players that's going to have to step up for Nash Central. Drone, number 9, Horn, Williams, Finkley. Those are some of the leaders on this Nash Central's defense that is going to have to step up in this game because Southwest is going to go back to that playbook in 2020 and say, this is what we did against this team a couple years ago. And we're going to try to do the same thing again. And on offense, it's the same guys. You're looking at, I call them the Jones brothers, Jones, with the quarterback and your running back, Jarvis, and James Rogers, number 19. They have some good players on offense, and it was shown in the game against Southeast Halifax that they can score. So it's going to be a good game because both teams play good defense and both teams can score.
Both teams can score.
So I got my pick, but we're going to do that again.
But you hold it.
Yeah, I'm holding. 5-minute quick pick.
Southwest Edge Coast, down. If you're new to the show, we got to say for Southwest Edge Coast. Bad as what?
Baddest band in the land.
Best hot dogs at the concession stand. Let's take a trip down to Pine Tops, down to Cougar Town, what we like to call it. I talked to two alumni down there in Pine Tops. They were excited for what Southwest did in the first game.
Yeah.
They feel good about this team. They feel like, like we said last year, they made the playoffs, but it was a growing season for a lot of young players.
Yep.
They feel like this team down has getting to that jail point.
Right.
And after you get that jail point, you know what comes next, don't you?
What's that?
You start clicking.
You
You start clicking all on all cylinders.
Yep.
This team right here, your Southwest Edgecombe, you beat your rival last week 47-0 North Edgecombe. You want to open up week one with a statement.
That's it.
That's a statement. You dress 83 players. Big team.
That's how I'm going to say. That's a lot of players.
Now, what we always say when you got a big team like that, we don't know how many playing. Well, we know 22 playing.
At least.
11 on offense, 11 on defense,
That's it. That's
and a
what we
mixture
know.
of that for special teams. But to be able to beat your rival 47-0 is a statement right there to let people know that you are found some. And 47 points means your offense is in rhythm.
Yeah.
A good rhythm. But if your Southwest Edge come, I will say this about our favorite Cougars down there. And we always say that because that's our motto, our favorite Cougars. This game is one of the many big games Southwest got on their schedule.
Who they got next?
Well, they got Nash Central this week.
Right.
Do you know they got next week?
Who they got?
Eastern Wayne. On the road in Goldsboro. After that, they come back home. You know what time it is then?
Uh-oh.
Function at the junction.
Function at the junction.
You bring it in Tarboro. Who I keep saying Tarboro's on the campaign of winning the Grit and Grind Edgecombe County Championship. Then after that, dog, they got Farmville Central on the road, on conference team. After that, Green Central, another conference team that's doing good in Snow Hill. Then you got North Pitt, another conference team that's 1-0 right now. Then you got Aiden Griffith at home, another conference team that's 1-0. Then you got Washington, who lost last week on the road. Then you wrap it up with West Craven, and 9 out of 10 in that game. Either you're doing two things. Either you're playing for that conference championship, or you're playing for seat needs to go up and down in the playoffs.
Up and down in the playoffs, that's it.
So, and then after that, let's say after that season, after the season's over with, if they make it to the playoffs game, either you got a home game or you're going on the road.
On the road.
I keep telling everybody they have the toughest schedule out of anybody in this area.
And
so this one right here,
that's what I'm going to say.
It counts.
This one counts.
Some teams can say we can lose this non-conference game or we can win it.
Right.
If we lose it, we can bounce back.
Right.
If you're Southwest, this one at week 2 can hurt you. Week 8 when you're like, okay, man, we should have won that. We should have won this game.
Right.
Because that can help us either get into the playoffs, going up in the playoffs, or you got to go on the road.
Or you got to go on the road. So it's just going to be a tough game.
Very tough.
So a tough game to pick as well.
Very tough.
And speaking of that,
it's time for that
5-minute
quick pick. Well, there's that time. I'm ready for my picks. I know you're ready for it. Let's jump it off with 8-man football.
Okay, let's go.
0-1 Rocky Mountain Academy lost last week against 1-0 Halifax Academy.
Yep.
I'm telling you, Halifax Academy.
You going Halifax? I think I'm going to stick with Rocky Mountain Academy.
You sticking with it?
I'm sticking with it.
0-1 Faith Christian versus 1-0 Harold's Christian Academy. I'm going Harold's Christian Academy.
I think I'm going Harold on this.
0-1 CCS after a heartbreak loss. They were driving and turnover on downs versus 1-0 Northeast Academy.
I think CCS is going to bounce back I'm going CCS on that one.
I'm going CCS on that one. 1-0 Howard. They off this week.
Oh, they off this
So
week.
the only thing they need to do this week, guess what?
What?
They need to have pep rally.
That's it.
Pep rally need to
First-
be on the books this week.
First game, first win.
Pep rally should be at
Yeah.
that school this week. 1-0 Wayne Christian versus Sand Hill Classical Christian. Sand Hill, of course, starts their season of football off this week. I'm going Wayne Christian.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I'm going Wayne Christian on that as well.
Let's jump to Halifax. 0-1 Southeast Halifax versus Lewisburg, who starts their season off this week. I got to go with the Warriors of the Bird. I'm going with the Bird,
I'm
Lewisburg.
gonna go Lewisburg on this. I think Lewisburg's gonna be ready. Their first game of the season. Yeah, they're gonna be ready to go.
0-1 Northwest Halifax versus 0-1. Here's our favorite one, Daryl. Arndale Parrott Academy. I never pick them, and I'm going to pick them. I'm going Arndale Parrott Academy.
Okay.
You always pick them. I'm going to be the one to pick
All
them
right.
this time.
Yeah, I'm sticking with them as well.
You stick with
I'm sticking with them as well.
0-1 Kilt Pride versus 1-0 Lakewood. Kilt Pride.
Kemp Pride.
That's your team.
That's my team right there. I'm sticking with Kemp Pride. I think they're going to bounce back. It's going to be a close game. But again, it goes back to what we said, just like with bun games. Measuring sticks, and that's what you want to be able to see the improvement each week. But I'm still going Kemp Pride.
I'm going to go Kilt Pride this because you want to set something up for that Saturday.
Yeah. I'm trying to
Where you know,
yeah,
it's got a little juice behind it.
got a little juice behind going down Kemp Pride.
Weldon is off. They will start play on September the 1st. Warren County 0-1 versus their rival, crosstown rival Oxford J.F. Wells, who is 1-0.
Yeah.
J.F. Wells pulled off a win last week.
Yeah, I saw that. I want to go Warren County, but I think Jay Webb is ready.
Eagles and Warriors, if you're not from around that area, Warrington, Oxford, that's a big rivalry in that area, just like with them in Vance County. I'm going to go with the Warriors and J.F. Wells. I think J.F. Wells got it. Let's jump over to Edgecombe County, Daryl. North Edgecombe, of course, has off this week. 1-0 Vikings of Tarboro. Big game.
Big game.
1-0 versus 1-0 Bears of Hereford County. Tarboro only suffered 2 losses last year.
Yeah.
Hereford County,
Yeah.
Mount Airy.
And that's the only 2 they lost. I mean, they did a thing last week. I had Rocky Mount beating Tarboro. That was my upset pick of the week. Didn't happen.
I had Tarboro.
And Tarboro said, no.
They rolled through.
And they just rolled right on through. It's going to be a good game. That was possibly one of our games of the week.
That was on the schedule, but we had that North Central.
We had the North Central, so I'm going Tarboro.
Tarboro has had to suffer with that Hereford County loss since week 2 of last year.
Yeah.
Tarboro is ready to put that behind them. Tarboro going to roll through Hereford County.
Yeah.
Wayne Wilson in Johnson County. Let's start with 0-1 Warriors of Hunt versus the 0-1 Bruins of Bettyfield. Warriors did not have a good outing against the Knights of Northern Nash last week.
No. And
Bettyfield scored 20 unanswered points against a fighting team in the second half.
Yeah.
You know, we always talked about last year, Northern Nash was the team that made the best halftime adjustments.
Best halftime adjustments.
Could Bettyfield be getting ready to take that motto and put it towards our program now?
It would be good.
That's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, it would be a step in the right direction. Who you got?
I got to go Bettyfield.
I
think Bettyfield gets upset.
All right, I'm going Bettyfield with you.
1-0 CBA Cop versus 1-0 Eastern Wayne. Good game down there in Wayne County.
Good game.
3A versus 2A. Good football.
I'm going CBA Cop.
I'm going to go with Falcons. Air raid offense keeps going as they start their campaign for the Wayne County championship. 0-1 Triple S versus Westover over there in the Johnson County area.
Give me Triple S.
I think I'm taking Triple S on bounce
give me
back.
Triple S.
A team that shot everybody. 1-0 North Johnson versus 0-1 Rosewood. That's gonna be a good one. 2A versus 1A. Good game.
Give me North Johnson on that one.
I'm gonna go Panthers North Johnson. I'm with you on that one. 0-1 Tigers of WPA who lost against #GoChargers Aiden Griffin last week versus East Columbus. Last year the Tigers went to East Columbus and put up big numbers. I think I got to go jump on that Worcester Prep train this week.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think I'm going on that one as well.
All right, let's jump over to East Wake before we get over here in our backyard, Daryl.
All right.
1-0 Roseville Rams versus the 1-0 Grimsley out of Greensboro. Big game over there.
Big time game. Who you got on this?
I like them Rams of Roseville. I
think I'm going with the Rams. They had a good outing.
They had a very good outing.
Yeah, I'm going with the Rams on this one.
Not many times you hear us say this about a team. 0-1 Cougars of Wake Forest.
What?
Lost against the biggest upset of last week also that you called out.
I called it.
Clayton. You went by Clayton.
I drove by Clayton that Saturday.
You said
I
they
saw
look
those
focused.
guys walking up into the stadium. I said, uh-oh, these guys look focused.
And
they sure enough was.
when you go practice on a Saturday, you know that's a big game.
Yeah, it's a big game.
Because you're doing that on your own.
On your own, yeah.
Versus South Gardner. That's
a big time
a
rival
big
for
time
them up
rival
there.
over there.
I'm going Clayton. I'm sticking with Clayton on this.
Wake Forest, South Gardner.
I'm going to go Wake Forest.
Coach Reggie, I got you one more week. Give me Wake Forest. 0-1 Nightdale versus 0-1 East Wake. Big rivalry between two neighboring towns.
Big rivalry. I saw that East Wake Southern Nash game. East Wake's got some potential. They got a good quarterback. They had a nice drive late in the second half against Southern where they was moving the ball by throwing it. I'm going to go East Wake on this. I think East Wake's going to bounce back.
I saw that Nightdale Pinehurst game, and I want to take the Warriors of East Wake on the upset on that. I'm going East Wake Warriors on the upset. 0-1 Corp Holders versus Capital Boulevard's finest, Broughton High School out of Raleigh.
I'm going to go Broughton.
I'm going to go Broughton.
Yeah,
Somebody them just been on Capital Boulevard. They got a nice stadium.
Yeah, I'm going Broughton on that.
Let's jump over here in our backyard where we do two games of the week. First of all, Southern Nash 1-0 versus South Granville.
I think Southern Nash is going to be fine. And the game against East Wake, some growing pains in that first quarter.
That's
a
it.
lot of penalties, a lot of miscues. But Southern has what they traditionally has, a strong defense and three great running backs, and Hines, Faulkner, and Mitchell. And you have that combination of guys that's in the backfield running the ball, so you don't know who's going to get it. And they all have different styles of running. And then the quarterback, Cooper, little learning pains, but those are things that can be fixed.
And that's what you want to do during non-conference.
And during non-conference. And he has the potential because he threw a beautiful pass to Whitaker, number 15, on the sideline before the end of the second quarter. So the potential is there. I'm going Southern Nash on this. And I think Southern Nash is going to come out better, more focused, less penalties, and really going to dominate in this game.
I think this is Southern Nash game to win, Southern Nash game to grow more talent. And when I say talent, get these guys with more confidence before they get in conference play. I'm taking Birds to get this one. Another big game, 1-0 Northern Nash versus 1-0 Wilson Fight. It's easy pick for me.
I'm going Northern Nash.
I'm going Northern Nash.
We said jump on Northern early because we didn't know what they had.
And I watched the Hunt game.
And I'm here to say, you can throw that out the book.
That's out the book.
Because they do what they done last season.
Play balance.
First half, it may be a little close, but that second half, they make the proper adjustments, game over.
And they are one of the best balanced teams in this area when it comes to run, pass, everything. I watched the Hunt game, and I'm like you, this team, they're clicking.
Yeah, so
I got Northern.
on this one.
Rocky Mount Senior High and Rocky Mount Prep. Jaguars are off this week. The Griffons and Jaguars are off, so we'll pick them back up next week. So let's go ahead, Daryl, make our picks for the game of the week.
Games of the week.
Bun and Northampton.
Like I said, it's going to be a measuring stick for Bun to see where you're at. You want to get the small victories out of this game. If you can get more first downs than you did in the previous game.
Cut back on penalties.
Cut back on penalties. It's those small victories that you're looking for if you're Bun. Go Northampton on this game.
Northampton's coming down there. They got a big test on them, but I think Northampton's going to win. This is setting up a good matchup with Kent Pride coming up in another week or two. Now the game of the week over here in our area. That's Central. Bulldogs. Head down. Cougar Town, USA. High Tops, North Carolina, to play the Cougars.
Like we said earlier, the last time Nash Central went down there, they gave up 500-some total yards against this Southwest Edgecombe offense. And Southwest is going to remember that and go back to that tape and look at that game and see what they did.
This is a hard pick for him, y'all. This is a hard pick. This is two of his favorite teams.
Yeah, this is hard. I think I'm going to have to go with the Bulldogs on this, though. I think the Bulldogs are going to come out. They're going to play better defense than they did back in 2020. It's a different team, different attitude,
Senior
And
leadership on the team.
a lot of senior leadership on that defense. That's gonna make a difference. And then you got the key players on offense for Nash Central. I'm going Nash Central. It's gonna be close though. Don't think it's gonna be a blowout
It's
like
gonna
they
be
had
close.
against Southeast Halifax. It's gonna be a close game, but I think Nash Central can come out with the win.
Well, this definitely getting ready to go viral right here. So I know we'll see this again. It's very rarely I pick against the Bulldogs of Nash Central. Daryl,
Yeah.
let me talk to you.
Uh-oh.
They going to Cougar Town, SWE.
Okay.
SWE for the win. I'm picking it right here. Southwest Edgecombe will
Southwest.
get the win.
All right, like you asked me. That's your final answer.
Final answer.
Final answer.
SWE, Southwest Edgecombe for the win down in Cougar Town. But I'm like you. It's going to be a close game.
Yep.
And it's going to be a good game.
It's gonna be a good game.
Because it's going to be old school,
Cool
old-fashioned football,
Yep.
what you want to see.
All right.
We
Sean.
want to thank everybody for tuning to the Grit and Grind Sports Show podcast live on Studio 67 Nash CC and on Channel 19. And we want to thank Northern Nash
Yep.
for being our host this week. And we will see you next week better than ever as Rocky Mountain.
Rocky Mountain.
We'll be
next week.
hosting next
We'll
week.
be
So we'll
hosting
be
us
at
next
Rocky
week.
Mountain. And as always, before we sign off, you have the grit.
And do you have the grind?
And we'll see you next week on the Grit and Grind Sports Show podcast.